forward. Okay. As others are joining us from other class periods, everybody else in here has been working for a bit, but let me just go ahead and give a quick logistical overview as to where we are. We just did chapter 9B on probability, right? So 9-6, 9-7, it's only 2 sections. For those of you guys that have notes ready, you already turned them in, and Sweetie will be getting them back to you when he grades them. Homework spirals, I did not collect today. Why? Because your 9-7s, most of you aren't done, and your reviews are barely, yeah, they're not done either. I'm going to go ahead and collect the homework spirals on Thursday, like I normally do, expecting the full review. Some of you guys have had a couple chapters where you just showed me the start, now you're going to show me the whole shebang. But check it, why did I say Thursday? Do you see? What was I very, very nice and did? I made 2 chapel days for your review instead of just 1 chapel day. I'm like, oh, quest tomorrow, that would be stressful. Does that make sense? So, be responsible. I'm making the quest in 2 days like it normally would, and I'm having you have like a full class period, like 2 chapel days to get that review done, which is why I also passed back people in other periods. Come ask me your chapter 8 test so you can start working on corrections, and a lot of people are just busting it out and turning it in, and they can use tomorrow for the quest review. Sorry. I said test review, I mean quest review. It's not going to be worth like an entire, whoops. It's like a quiz test. Probably worth like 20 points. Probably worth like 20 points. But you're still getting a full note check for just 2 sections and a full homework spiral for just 2 sections and a review. Go team. As you guys are looking at your, whoops. Oh, your chapter 8 corrections are due in a week from today, although a lot of you might just bust it out and turn it in today. And then chapter 9 is where we are right now. I'm just about to go over 9.7 questions, and then some people have been working on the review. 2 people have turned it. Oh, yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. Show-offs. Better come with productive things to do tomorrow. Come with productive things to do tomorrow. All right, here we go. 9-7. Let's go over the questions that have been posed. For those of you that need it, listen up. For those of you guys that don't, keep working on what you're working on. Sound good? All right, here we go. In section 9.7, the first one, number 4, is a little weird because we did not practice, like, guys, we barely talked about probability. We just got, like, the fundamental, basic ideas in how to count up and how to find basic probabilities with numbers of ways of favorable outcomes over the number of total outcomes, otherwise known as the... What's the space that includes all? Yeah, sample space. But notation-wise, and this was like Brendan when I was back there, I'm like, oh, I doubt they mean for that, but maybe they do, and I was totally right. In the sense of, I'm just more used to it than you guys. So when they see set notation for all the different possible sample space, they just mean something as basic as, hold on, what are you doing? You're selecting 2 marbles without replacement. There's 1 red, 2 blue. Just getting my bearings, 6 yellow, and you're only choosing 2 again, right? Okay, so I could have a red and a blue, I could have a red and a yellow. Why did I start with red? Because there's only how many of them? Let's see, I could have a blue and a blue. Do you think the order matters? It doesn't say without replacement 2 marbles. Let's finish off with the different combinations. I could do yellow, yellow. I could do blue, yellow. Or I guess you could say like yellow, blue. Then we start asking ourselves whether order is important.
On the watch, it says that red and blue equals blue, red.
Oh, okay. So that helps you out. So that I don't have to worry. Because otherwise I would do, okay, yellow, blue, yellow, red, blue, red. So it must be like you're putting your hand in and getting 2 out at once. And they just said without replacement, so that way you didn't think like you were taking it and putting it back and taking it again. So reaching in, getting 2 marbles, that would mean order isn't important because you're just looking at what you have in your hand. And that should be enough. BB, BR, BB, sorry, BB, BR, or RB, whatever, RY, YY, and BY or YB. Yeah, that should be good. Andy.
What? Couldn't there be like 3 possible options for YY? Because there's 6 yellow marbles.
Except in this one, they're just asking for... That's a good question. Since they're asking for combinations, if there's nothing distinct between the different yellows, like a yellow 5 versus like a yellow 8, that would actually make a difference, and you're just looking at the marbles in your hands, they're not asking how many ways it can happen. They're just asking for what are the different combinations of colors it could happen. Does that make sense? The number of ways it could happen, that's if you're trying to think of what are the chances of me getting yellow, and you're like, there are 6 yellow. I have really good better options for getting yellow than blue, or red, right? So that would be if we're trying to count up how many ways it could happen, but according to this, it just wants the sample space of what are those color combinations. But good question. Good question. It was a little bit unclear with the wording, so I understand what you're saying. And I really don't want to list all the different, like, it wouldn't be, the word from our notes would say it wouldn't be distinguishable unless there were numbers or something. Number 7 then, find the probability of, this is cards, and do they tell us whether it's a standard deck or not? Standard deck of 52 playing cards. See, they're being very precise for us. Thank you very much. Find the probability, which means I need a decimal, I need a percentage, and to do that, I need a fraction, right? The card is a red face card. Ooh. See how they did that there? Now, because some of you are very, very, very familiar with playing cards, or if you want to, you could go back to that page where I tried to be helpful. You might not even notice it's there. Could you literally go count the red faces? You could say, oh, that's red in face, red in face, red in face, red in face. Ooh, 6 out of how many? You could do that. 6 out of 52 are the red face cards. Or you could have tried thinking about, like, hey, it's red and it's a face card, but the problem is in this one is I'm looking for the overlap of those cards. And so the easiest way to do this one, if you couldn't see the cards, would be to think about, okay, how many red cards do I have? All the numbers, all the aces, all the faces. How many face cards do I have? All the suits, all their jack, queen, king. And then think about how many red face cards. Well, 2 suits have face cards. But as I just showed you, that's the same thing as 6 cards out of 52. And then that could be reduced, which is where they get the 3 out of 26. Divide the top by divide the top by 2, and divide the bottom by 2, boop, and then we get our whoosh, whoosh. But I bet that one's fine. They know it's the same value. And then last but not least, number 9, which is getting a little bit more practical. Like if you were reading some sort of article and they had some sort of cool visual and PS, they're trying to make the visuals cooler and cooler. Actually, not so much. They're trying to include more and more information in visuals, in articles, in research, research briefs and things like that. So this chart is very basic and probably wouldn't be seen in much anymore because we have so much data because of all that's being gathered. But anyway, it's a different talk for a different day, maybe year, like stats next year. Okay, so ages of unemployed workers. We have a total of 8.26 million unemployed workers. They should have given a year. This is lame. It definitely was not from this year, probably from like 10 years ago. In a particular year, there were approximately 8.26 million unemployed workers in a country. Oh, it didn't even say which country. Okay, they're just being very vague. The circle graph shows the age profile of these unemployed workers. So first of all, could you just read the chart? They want the 6 to 19 range. The 6 to 19 range is what color? It's the 16%. It's the blue periwinkle, whatever you want to call that, right? Probably more periwinkle. But anyway, the 16 to 19 is the periwinkle range. It does say 16%, but why is that not an answer? Because they're asking for the number of workers. How do I find the percent of a number? 8.26 times, not 16, gotta divide by 100 and then multiply, right? So just a quick reminder of math, if you're trying to find 16% of 8.26. There we go. I would just do that 0.16 times. The little ones are out. And then that should lead you to your final one. They say just around to 2 decimal places, hence the 1.32. And letter B, it gets a little more exciting because then it says, what is the probability that a person selected at random is in the 25 to 44 age range? That's as easy as just going and saying probability. Guys, can't I just steal the 37%? Right? But 37% is the percentage for the probability they're seeing it as a decimal. So you could put 0.37. I mean, 37 out of 100 is kind of lame. I would have just done 0.37. But that works too. Means the same thing, I guess, right? But they didn't want 37, because remember, 37% is not the number 37, it's 0.37 of the population. Letter C gets a little bit, oh no, same idea. What is the probability? So probably if you guys messed this one up, I'm guessing either you were having a bit of trouble connecting the two ideas or remembering the 8.26 in like letter A, but other than that, maybe you just didn't realize you're just doing the decimals, aka the fractions of wherever it matches up, which 24 over 100, they're just saying it reduces, but once again, I think 0.24 should have been fine. If you're checking it, let me know if that's actually, like, verify it for me. Get that little Instagram blue check mark for me. And let me know if it works. And then what is the probability that a person selected is 45 or older? Ooh. What do I have to do for 45 or older? It's the only one that's exciting. Combine them. Say it's 24%. Plus 7%, because it's an or. And is there any overlap between these two age ranges? No. You're either 64, haven't turned 65 yet, or you're 65, you've turned 65 and you're older. So they're mutually exclusive, 2 separate categories. I just add the 2 together. There is no blending of colors of ones that are kind of both. And I end up with 0.31. Or 31 over 100, which should be exactly what happens when I reveal the final box. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, 9.7. Are we done to London? Cool. So remind me of the logistics. We have 5 minutes left. Do you have corrections you could be working on for next Tuesday? Sure. I'll check spirals tomorrow if you have them ready. Does that sound good? You have a quest review that you could be working on / finishing up. Tomorrow we'll take quest review questions. And then if you have other classes to work on, I mean, if you're totally done for tomorrow, do what you need to do. I just felt bad having the quest tomorrow, so give me a little bit of grace. Ryan, you go watch a firework tomorrow. A little one. I'll make the end of work. It'll introduce chapter 9. Wyatt, would you mind pausing the recording? Just hit the little blue pause button. Bye, everybody online. Work on your review / 9.